You played on the next year.
Yep.
After the championship and got beaten in the final.
I didn't play the next championship. No, I played in the twos.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
You then started to move, I suppose, down the grade. Your work commitments, we'll talk about that a bit later,
yeah.
And your administration commitments, but you continued playing captain the fourths in 2000, 2001 and won the Premiership or the Championship. Is it the Premiership or Championship?
It was only Premiership. It was only in your own division.
Okay, yeah. And you made runs?
That was one where I did really regret that I did lose the toss, because it was quite a fair bit in the wicket that day. Mm-hmm. And getting to 100 was going to be a tough ask, and at least would keep us in the game. And being captain, didn't batting down the order, so came in I think about number 4, but we were 2 for very few, and wickets were still falling, but managed to then with the other grey-haired gentleman in the team, Wayne McLaughlin, we managed to put a partnership together, and it got us well over 100. And then Wayne made a good score. I think was certainly close to 50. And he was playing with his son, Brett, and he came in and whacked a few. So we got a very competitive score against a very strong Sunshine team playing on the main oval at Sunshine. Had our work cut out, but again, we're playing a team which wasn't used to playing on a bigger ground. I at least take some advantage of playing at Sunshine for a number of times, playing a team which had played on a very, very small ground, and then played their grand final on their main ground. They didn't really, they had some good, strong batting who were well above 4th 11. They just didn't know how to play and you could set the fields to them, and we managed to dry them up, and they just got frustrated.
Yeah.
And some good bowling performances got us across the line.
Your career spanned as a player almost 30 years, quite remarkable, through incredibly successful periods. When you look back on your playing career, Dave, what's your thoughts?
Ooh, it's a tough one. That I think it's just with the amount of people that you've been involved in. It's been also the culture of the Preston Cricket Club. You know, no matter what sort of status in society you may have, there was sort of a very brought down to everyone's level very, very quickly, and it was a good-humoured, friendly, and a lot of the 80s where there was a lot of with younger families, there was a strong family involvement in the club as well. So it made for a very, very strong and friendly culture. Yeah, again, no matter who was playing in 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s.
Yes, that's come through loud and clear talking to so many people over the years. Regardless of the decade, the culture was sort of there. Now, along the way, of course, you also had an incredible administrative career with the club, originally being the apprentice to Steve Hillam as the assistant secretary for a short while, and then taking over as secretary.
No, the true story is it covered up all these inefficiencies. Make sure Steve hears that.
But you then took on secretary in 1983 and stayed until 96. So that's a hell of a span. And then was president from 2002 to 2005. What were the major initiatives that you sort of drove administratively with the club?
I think 2 clear objectives and what we needed to try and achieve was, one, getting the club on a sustainable footing, both financially and player-wise. That all sub-district clubs went through various periods where they would have abundance of numbers, and then a year or so later they'd be struggling to get numbers for their 4th 11, come first round or first game after Christmas. So it was then looking at how you could put into place a structure where you weren't just relying on, okay, who hasn't been in contact and who's still at least up to standing in covers at the 4th 11. Remember vividly one day where the 4th 11 shortened They even had Peter Jones out there at least making up the 11
Okay.
for the odd game, during those periods. But it was then we implemented a junior program, and then got the under 16s had been going for some time, but then it evolved into under 14s, and then even subsequent years with under 12s as well. So it then started to breed that pipeline of younger players coming through, which became more essential. Yes. And trying to build some bridges with some of the local teams. I was living in the Diamond Valley and had some connections with Diamond Creek because of boys playing junior cricket down there, and even had some of those at least getting some experience with the opportunities of playing on turf as well.
Now, in business, you were, this is really testing my memory, Dave, but you were an industrial chemist, having studied at university or RMIT or one of those at the time.
Well, originally it was Preston Institute, but now RMIT.
Yes.
Up in Bundoora.
Yeah. You became very successful in business, working for international companies. In fact, you've served internationally with those companies living in India and New Zealand. Must have been incredible experiences.
That was later, and that was really the reason with the move away from the club. The last 12 months of the presidency became more problematic. I started with an international European-based company called BASF, German-based company, but globally the biggest chemical company. And I was becoming more and more heavily involved in regional, so it meant a lot of travel into Asia for various projects, and so there was more and more time was being spent away, and that was just making it more problematic of having the time because of the work commitments and the time to really put in at the Preston. So then the final straw came when there was an opportunity to move with Mandy and myself to India in 2006. So we'd spoken about it back in the 80s. That nearly went to the US at one stage, but that didn't eventuate. But it was something that always aspired to try and do, and when it came up, jumped at the opportunity, even though, India may not have been your first choice as a country, but it was an experience, and I've never regretted it.
I can imagine. Wonderful country. Before we move on to some other reflective sort of areas, you actually also played 17 games with Preston in the VFA, in the seniors. You played in the back line or on the ball?
Most of the time was on the ball, ruck roving and forward. One year, the middle year, which then did win the best and fairest in the seconds, and we did make the finals that year because we had a very strong team. But that year I did play centre half back, and the big problem they had in the ones at that year is that they had one of the Brown brothers was playing, and he was playing centre half back. So there was limited opportunities that year. Did get 2 or 3, but at least it gave me an opportunity to win the best and fairest in the seconds.
The coach in one of those years was the great man himself, Dick Telford.
Dick Telford, yeah.
He sent his regards when I spoke to him a couple of weeks back.
Well, I remember, he thought initially it was a joke because, as you said, I was studying at RMIT, Preston Institute at the time. And it was the year after won the best and had a very good start to the year. And Mandy was on the SRC, and there was a faculty football game to be played on the oval at Preston, or the Bundoora Oval. And training one night said, Dick, I'm going to play at school, the uni, on the just get an extra run in on the Wednesday, and the Tuesday before, and then said, okay, I'm not keen on you doing it. Where you're playing? He said, on the main oval, and he was in the PE faculty there at that time. And he said, no, I really don't want you playing. You're going to do an ankle. So lo and behold, really did a ankle on it, and went physio straight away, and then come back on crutches. And then going into the office and see Dick, and he just started laughing. Okay, yeah, okay, good joke. No, I really had done my ankle.
Now, it was at the footy club that you got the famous nickname, Magoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sort of stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the secretary down there was ex-Fitzroy. Claude Heath was the one who gave me that nickname. So that was when I was about 19.
Now, a couple of quick questions for you, not big answers. The funniest man you ever played with the Preston Cricket Club?
Oh, you need to ask that question. Just ask him. The PRM.
The PRM. Yeah. Who did you love playing with the most?
Yeah, it's probably an saying that with this one there's who play with for a reason, playing with for a season, and playing with a lifetime. So it sort of covers a number of aspects of it. Probably for the reason I said with Keller, that taught me a lot, about cricket. And the one for the season would be Ravi Ratnaika. Again, very sort of humble type person, but when he needed to, he could switch it on and off. Most of the time he was coasting and not wanting to be the big player, international player that he was. But if he got to the stage where you had to put the pedal to the metal, then Ravi was the one. And I guess another one for the lifetime was, went through a lot and played, because he batted number 3, was Rowan Popeye. Yeah, enjoyed a lot of the times that batted with Rowan.
Who was your toughest opponent?
We did have the year where we played against Malcolm Marshall, and he certainly was quick. But the time we played him, I was surprised that he didn't do a lot with the ball. But he could he changed his pace quite considerably with the same arm action. And that made it more difficult to pick up, what pace it was going to become. But facing him when he bowled really express was, okay. And he was trying to get even with us because supposedly Ronnie Brents had upset Desmond Haynes that year because he was playing at Dandenong, and he did bowl fairly quickly because he cleaned up Jared Dowling that game with on the helmet, or even Richie Robinson got one up around the helmet as well. But the one truly fastest bowler was scary was, and he played a couple of years at Williamstown, was Jeff Horsburgh. Extremely difficult and very, very fast for someone who just meandered up to the wicket. And he probably would say is the fastest bowler faced.
Yes, like Jeff Thompson, and bowling from the Bay End late in the afternoon was not very pleasant.
I found it one because we played the semi-final there, which we won. And he's bowled one, and it's the best cover drive I've never played. There's just put the bat there, and the wide ground at Williamstown, but the ball just raced away. So he didn't have to hit the ball all that hard. When it hit the middle, then it was going to stay hit.
Well, David, we're just about out of time, but I would regret not saying this. You are certainly one of the legends of the club. Congratulations on your career. As a teammate, you are very fair, incredibly fair. 100% everything you did. Didn't see you bowl, so or maybe you did, but your batting, you never gave your wicket away easy. Your fielding was always first class, and as a clubman, just outstanding. What you've given has just been sensational. So congratulations on a wonderful, wonderful career.
Well, the footnote, Lee, is that I had 1 wicket in the first 11.
One,
yeah.
Who gave you a bowl? That's the big question.
I was the second innings.
Oh, right. Okay.
Then they realised that if we had got me on the bowl earlier, we could have got the outright. But
okay. Were you the captain?
No. But it was one of the bowlers who caught it, and they were, whether it was Scratch or Gary Moore, that were in at silly mid-off and bowled the ball and that it was only one of the silly bowlers who'd be close enough to, or stand in that close to get a catch that just popped up off the bat.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, Lee.